On mission, I always called you cheese.
I sat at the back that Sunday and I literally, I shed a tear and I'm like, God, but what more? What more do you want? The best thing about Uganda is that, when it gets cold, it's not really cold. So
Maybe let's transition into life after mission.
it took me 3 years to actually sort of like readjust to fit in society. I'm in the financial industry now. Yeah, the arrangement was I'm gonna stay here. Can you assist me with going to school? And I will work for you. You don't have to pay me. You are paying me by paying my school fees. That is all that I'm asking. They said, okay, it's fine. We'll do it. Second month, they just stopped. They're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I want you to now work. Don't worry about school. It's not that important. It became very difficult to function because I was sort of like, lack of a better word, a still boyki. That agreement also lasted for a short period of time until they said, no, soccer is useless. Stop doing this. I'm like, really? And then I got kicked out.
How?
10 p.m. at night. Get out.
Oh,
I'm
oh,
like, no.
oh,
I'm
oh.
like, at least let me wake up in the morning and go home. They're like,
10
go.
p.m. cheese.
10 p.m. Hey man, I ended up being an Uber driver. Can you believe that? I was almost hijacked. I was almost beaten up. And then I'm like, mm-mm. When the 12 months ended, the big boss called me aside and said, look, man, we like your drive. We like your enthusiasm. We like your curiosity. We want to take you in. I'm like, from a leadership salary to a proper salary now. And there's corporate. I'm like, didn't know that I could get such. I'm like, to tell you the truth, man, look, I blew my entire first salary. Gone. I blew it. I damaged I had a girlfriend. She had no idea. I went to apply for Date My Family because I was late.
The angels bow down at the thought of you. The darkness gives way to the light for you. The price that you pay gives us life brand new. Hosanna forever, we worship you. Hosanna forever, we worship you.
Okay, hello everyone. So today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, my former mission companion, Mutajana. Bo, bo, bo,
You never called me with my surname, not even once. Like my entire mission, you never used my surname at all.
Really, that's true. I called you cheese. You know what I was actually thinking the other day? Because, okay, just a quick reflection, just to go back on mission. And we're going to like talk about what mission is and just touch on how we met and just progress from there. But the way that and on mission, I always called you cheese. And the reason I called you cheese is because in my mind at the time, it was like I thought that like cheese boy meant like someone who like this handsome ladies man, yeah, so I
you,
didn't fully realize that cheese boy was actually associated with like wealth and rich,
you
that
know,
sort of like.
for some reason I tried defending myself. I'm like, guys, I'm not a cheese boy. I'm just normal average. No one listened to me. Everywhere there was only certain people that call me cheese, and I'm like, guys, you guys. I ended up forgetting about it. I'm like, you know what? I accepted my fate. We might as well just continue with this because it's not gonna end. It was just what I was known as ever since.
I think if I could go back now, I'd probably call you something like chama boy or ladies man.
It's Latola. Latola's the one.
Oh, he started cheese boy.
No, Latola was, you could say, one of the most attractive, good-looking in the entire machine. And then this other person thought I'm Latola's younger brother. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, no, we are not brothers. We sort of look alike. It was because of the waves that they thought me and Latola are brothers. I'm like, no, guys, Me and
But also,
Latola,
bruh, you and Latola looked alike. Like, okay, there was I think it was the thing, and I'm gonna put up a picture of Latola when he was on mission, because now he's like now Latola's big.
I saw him once. I saw him once on Facebook, and I've been speaking to some people that know him from Eastern Cape, and I'm like, apparently now he's a bishop now. He's a bishop. If he's not a bishop, he's in the bishopric, but he has a serious calling there. And I'm like, no, that probably fits him. If he's that and he's married and has a kid, that's how a bishop would probably look like. It makes sense when I saw it on Facebook.
Man, okay, geez, before we get too excited, because man, it's so much fun for me because it's been such a long time since we've connected in this way, a
Yeah.
video and just like have a normal conversation. Like we'll text occasionally and you'll comment on my statuses, I'll comment on yours, but it's been such a long time. And by a long time, I think it was 2013. Yeah, because we came back from our missions 2013. So and that was the last time we saw each other.
No,
No.
wait, wasn't it 2015? 2015. You
Oh
left, you
yeah,
came
because
back
2013
April.
was beginning
Yeah.
of mission. 2015 is when we ended our mission. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
you came back. We spent a good time in one area though.
That's true. That's true. So maybe let's take our audience back so that we all move together. How did we meet, Cheese, from your perspective? How did you and I come to know each other?
All right, so we were in Uganda. Hot, such a hot place, but it's beautiful, man. It's it's beautiful being in Uganda. The people make it look like, as much as you appreciate where you come from, the people of Uganda make you appreciate Uganda in such a blissful way. So now I was in one particular area called Mbali for I think it was my first time there, and then for some reason it was the four of us. And can I say that we had one short man? This like the three of us, we were told, and then we had one short missionary, which is Lunga. Like he was very short with a very long surname, which was very confusing. I like that's one thing I never understood because I kept like the first time I met him, uh, they were driving the car, and me and my other companion, since we were pairs, we were walking. First time I introduced myself, yeah, so I'm Elder Mutajana, and he said he's Elder Mukutswana. Now that means short. For it's a long surname for short, and I'm like, dude, it makes sense. I understand everything. From that moment onwards, I started calling him Little Man because he was short and he was a man. So then. Uh, we lived in the same sort of like the same apartment for 6 weeks, and then
Sorry,
6 weeks later.
can I quickly interject? You know, because of what you called me, and yeah, like little man, and also just the emphasis on my surname, I actually went back to my father because I think you were the first one who told me that Umkutswana means it's suited for like short
And
one.
exactly, and you call son, it shocked me. I'm like, how does that work, and what's going on?
Bruh, my whole life, I never knew. I only found out on mission that Mkutswana means short one. So after mission, I went back. I'm like, Mama, talk to me nice.
You
Talk
must
like what?
explain.
Do we have Sutu? Like what's happening? Yeah, Mkutswana is like Sutu for. Do we have Sutu in our blood? He's like, I don't know. For me, all I know is Tosa. Maybe 4 or 5 generations before. But yeah, that's still something that I hope to find out someday. Is where did Kutswana come from?
No, but yeah, that was very interesting. It was funny though, but we for some reason we clicked just spot on, and so as I was saying, then 6 weeks later, while he was with another pair, they paired us together with him and I, and it was one of the best 6 weeks of my life when we were together. Though we were walking, we were having a blast the entire time. We did weird things. It was just a fun environment. I got to know him. We We sang together. We spoke our language. We played in our language. We played in English. I had no idea about Xhosa. He taught me some Xhosa things and English. It was just fun though. We just 6 weeks was one of the best 6 weeks and we taught a lot of people, and it was that's where we learned about each other, and we learned about life before mission, and what we used to do, and sort of like our plans, and even the girls that were in our lives, then the things that we just basically used to do though. That is how I met little man. So I can't call him by his first name because it's very unusual. I've always been calling him Little Man. I saved him on my phone as Little Man, and he'll. I think it's gonna forever stay there until I don't know. It's not gonna change anytime soon.
Yeah, now the internet is going to call me Little Man. You've opened a can of worms.
Those of you guys who have not seen him, you would understand what I'm talking. His surname says his. But yeah, it was fun, man. I mean, it's weird because as much as we served in 2015, there was a gap where we never spoke. But every time we spoke, it's like uh, we just take it from where we left off and continue as if we've been speaking forever. Though that's the fun part. I once was speaking to someone about even friendships and genuine friendships with people. How you cannot talk, you can go for such a long time without talking to someone, but when you talk to them again, it's like you basically have been speaking for the rest of your lives, and you just never end. So yeah, that's how I met Little Man, and how we've been in communication so far.
Man, cheese, what was your favorite memory in, because we were together for two transfers, right?
It we wait. No. We were in the same house for two transfers because one of them uh you were still a zone leader and I was a district leader, the second one. Then you left. You left me because the other one you was only, it was just one. We were companions for one, but we lived together for 12 weeks.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Ah, that's true. Because first it was when you arrived, I was with Halliday. Then
Yeah.
Halliday left, and then we
Left.
were companions for a transfer.
Yeah.
And then I left for Ikang.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was with one list. Oh, okay, okay. I remember now. I remember now. Okay. So in the still in the two transfers we were because there was still okay. Let me tell you what my favorite memory was. Okay, just very briefly. One of my favorite memories is I sucked in soccer. I sucked. But every morning, even before we became companions, because we lived in the same house, like we'd
Yeah.
hang out together. I mean, we had a routine. So like 30 minutes. So we'd wake up at like 6:30, and then we had to exercise for 30 minutes until 7 o'clock, shower, and then get ready. 8 o'clock to 9, we had to study individually. 9 to 10, we had to study in companionships, and then we go out and just like do our thing. So in the 30 minutes of like waking up, you'd always help me out with that. Like you practice like passing properly, practice dribbling, because that was my biggest. I couldn't dribble to save my life.
You look like you
Man.
played rugby. In my head, I thought on my mission, everyone that came from Eastern Cape, you guys, you stick to rugby. You're good at that. That's that. It's like you were built that way. Like you were designated. You guys would play rugby, and everyone else in the country will learn how to play soccer. That was it.
Yeah, I think for me that's definitely my favorite memory. Yeah, one of my favorite. I mean, there's so many because we had some good times in Bali. But yeah, I think that's one of my favorite. Like just all those little like morning like soccer games we'd have together with Holiday, and Yazika would join as well. And we'd have like a
Like,
like a 4-man little game in the morning. And I could dribble at the end of that I could dribble, bruh. I could dribble. I could do fancy footwork, bruh. That was you. That was you.
no, man, that was my one of it was a good time. There's a I went well before we had this video. So I have an album with pictures of of my entire mission, and majority of them it was in the area where we served in Mbale, in Uganda. There's a time, you'll remember when they were actually we were actually companions for actually to come and think of it. It was more than 12 weeks because there was a time where they brought people from uh, Sierra Leone, the two missionaries, because of the Ebola attack, and then we ended up being six.
Yeah,
Actually,
man,
now
I
that I
knew we
think
were
of it,
together
yeah,
for a while. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It was, yeah, you and I were companions for 12 weeks, and then the 18 weeks, we were all together. So there's a time where we took some weird pictures standing by the stairs. They're trying to pose like modeling agents. I don't even remember exactly what was happening there. But we were with your companion then was Elder
The
Fuller.
Shimanand.
Uh, no, it was Fuller. He was the driver. No, wait. You were the driver together with Fuller, no? Or
Yeah,
was it Fuller? Was it you or
yeah, it
not?
was Fuller.
Who was
Because
companions?
he had come from Ethiopia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it was Fuller.
Kazimoto. Oh, Kazimoto was with someone else. The Ugandan that came. Okay, it makes sense now.
Yeah,
Because it was
yeah.
it was it was you,
It
Fuller,
was it was
Kazimoto. Uh, it, is it Elapo? Yeah, Elapo, myself, and and we were six.
yeah, and then it was
You,
me and Fuller.
Fuller, myself, Elapo, Kazimoto, and Okelo.
Okay.
The brother. Yeah, so we decided to do some modeling agent. I have no idea what we were doing, but it was just that moment where we took pictures like we were modeling. I don't even remember who was taking pictures of us there. So when I looked at that picture, I'm like, actually, this was a blissful. I mean, after that picture, look, there's a lot because we went hiking in the mountains, and with everyone and other missionaries came. So those were the best memories for me that were actually created in that place. Though that was just fun.
No, for sure. Did you have any like bad moments in your mission? Like moments where you're like, man, like what, like just a bad experience that leaves a sour taste in your mouth that to this day when you look back on it you're like, hey, you know what, my mission experience could have been okay if I didn't have that experience.
It was more of a spiritual setting because at that point, after we I felt at some point we had on Sunday after inviting people to church from, let's say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday throughout until like Saturday night. There's one week where we felt we did so good that we felt that we had certain people coming to visit the church and to see how the church was like. When the Sunday came, after we had toiled, like we felt that we did so much, we met so many people, and on the day when it came, like no one pitched up at all, like zero, nothing. It hit me differently at that point because I'm like, but I was told that if I do the best that I can, the results will show. And after working so many times and after praying and asking for help, uh, result dololo, like nothing. And for some reason, the saddest part, I sat at the back that Sunday and I literally, I shed a tear and I'm like, God, but what more? What more do you want? And uh, I guess now I realize it was a learning point. But at that particular point, I felt that why am I doing all of this? Like, why am I working so much when only to find out that people don't take what we do this serious? And I don't think I should even take myself this serious. And at that point, that's when I was about to lose hope, but then I just had just the habit and the desire to continue finishing what I already started. And that is at that point, even when I came back, it made me feel sour. I wished it could have gone a different way, but I only learned years later after I was home that because of my experience that we'll get later on, that it had to happen the way that it had to happen.
Hmm. And I think also just to give people a bit more like context and understanding into why that hurt so much for you. Like as missionaries, that's literally what we do. Or yeah, for 2 years.
Yeah,
Like we leave our homes, we volunteer for a period of 2 years. And in fact, not just volunteer, but you go to the extent of making financial contributions, you sacrifice your schooling for 2 years. So in your mind as a missionary, you've made so many sacrifices for your belief, your religion. You truly believe that there's value in this message that you have to share with people. And so you sacrifice 2 years of your life, and you also sacrifice by way of financial contribution towards your mission. And so fast forward, you get to your mission, and like we said with the schedule, you wake up at 6:30 every day. There's
every
every Monday, Tuesday,
every
Wednesday, Thursday, every day
non-stop
without
for
fail.
every day, man. Yeah,
Every day, 6:30. You exercise for 30 minutes every day. You study for 2 hours, 1 hour
every, every
individually, another hour with your companion every day. And the reason you're studying is so that you can be a sharper missionary
yeah,
for the people that you will teach. And then within either the second hour where you're studying with your partner, we call that like your companion, so someone that you work with for
mhm,
that period of time when you're in that area. You plan literally for each hour of the day from when you leave the house. So usually about maybe like 9:30, 10 o'clock, you plan every
yeah,
hour. Okay, we're gonna see this person. And then beyond just planning, like slotting the times when you're gonna see that person, you also talk about what their needs are. You're like, man, you know, Alex's family needs this. This guy's family needs, like you discuss people by name, you talk about their concerns, you prepare specific lessons for them. So like you
yeah,
pour your whole heart and soul into what you're doing and into people, and genuinely like it comes from a place of wanting people's lives to be better. And so when you
yeah,
share the message, the hope as a missionary you have is that this person's life will be better because of what I'm sharing. And part of bettering their lives means them coming to church. So you teach during the week, and then you invite them to come to church. So it is a
sure.
heartbreaking.
Yes, I think. Excuse me. I think. Sorry to cut you. I think, at times you, and bear in mind, you are like 19. You are 19. You are 20. There. You're fresh from high school, and all in your head, what you're thinking about is just the excitement. And here you are in a very certain schedule that, for me now, I come to realize has helped me a lot in a lot of things. But when you are in that state and you feel confounded, you're like, am I doing this? It's repetitive, it's tiring, you have to wake up. The best thing about Uganda is that, when it gets cold, it's not really cold. So waking up in the morning, you're not worried about the cold. You don't worry about the cold as much. So you just don't want to wake up because you're tired. You're like, I am tired today. I don't want that 30 minutes of exercise. Let me rather take it to sleep. I'll exercise during the day or something. I'll walk the whole day and cover up for that. But it's quite unique, if that is what I can say, sort of like at some point has been a tug of war, especially post mission. But during those, every time I think of the experiences I had, what I felt, the people I've met, and the relationships I have built, they have channeled and taught me things that I don't think I would have learned anywhere else, or it would have taken me longer to learn. some of the attributes about specifically myself and even how to deal with people as well.
Hmm. Maybe let's transition into life after mission. How was that for you? Like, take us through your experience of
Hey,
life after mission.
problem. I, so actually, but I'm saying problem because now I am what I can say at a better state. It took me when I came back in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. It took me 3 years to actually sort of like readjust to uh, myself and to be able to fit in, sort of like for me personally, to fit in society. And why it took me this long? Because I was very confused. All I knew and understood what to do was to teach. I realized that I discovered some of my abilities and some of my skills and what I'm good at, but I didn't know how to utilize them or where to utilize them. I wanted to go to university, but I couldn't because of financial strains, and uh, I had no one in the family to help me. So I decided to seek out what I'm good at, which was to take what I've learned during the past 2 years and go and show someone or prove to someone that I know something that they do not know. It was a bit of a prideful move, but I had to carry my kahunas and continue and show them that I'm good at something. So I went out to look for jobs, and for some reason I was able to get jobs so many times. I don't remember a time where I was not without a job, which um, is very unusual when I hear someone else say, I'm struggling to find a job and there's this, there's that. But for me, I've always had it in my head that when I talk to a manager or someone, I exactly know what to say, when to say, and how to say it, and make them feel that I want this person to work here. I don't know what they must do, but we want this guy to work here. So I started working at a retail store, and I used my skills with people to work at certain retail stores. Um, where I was from, by the way. Sorry, I did not mention where I'm from, but we'll come back to that as I continue my other life story. Uh, from one town in the Free State in Bloemfontein, and then I migrated to another town in Free State, and then this is within the 3 years, and then I eventually migrated to Johannesburg, taking a very big risk, saying, you know what, I don't have any formal or education outside of after matric. I only have my experience and it's going to help me go through it. During those 3 years, I cried, I wept, I decided to fend for myself and to assist my family where I can. And at the same time, as much as I would rely on what I learned at home, on mission, it was a bit difficult because mission enhances your spiritual level on another level that is very different. And when you come back, retrieving that knowledge and retrieving that spirit again can sometimes be very difficult because in life no one cares and no one is going to come and pick you up. You for some reason have to do it yourself so that you can be people can see how serious you are, and that is what I learned. One word during these 3 years that has stood out for me is the word resilience. And that is what I consider myself, that I've become very resilient and I've become adaptable to something that is of beneficial, not just to me, but to those that are around me. And that is how it started um, during these 3 years.
I think you can see it on my face. Boom, like my mind is firing.
Yeah, I can
It's
I can
firing.
see.
Man, so just so the audience knows, I'm also like, this is a part of like your life story that I'm learning for the first time, obviously. And so like it sparks a lot of interest, it sparks a lot of questions. I think the first one that sort of is at the forefront of my mind is for 3 years. And just like you said, in South Africa, I think I I was talking with my partner about the statistics, and she was saying that currently, I think the unemployment is at like 36% in the country. I think youth unemployment is like over 50%. So, in that context, how does Cheese manage to secure jobs every time for 3 years?
It's it's a ish, man. To be honest, for some reason, I don't know how I was able to do that, and the it felt like I undermined as well because I kept jumping when I like to, when you have something given to you and then you eat it and you're like, no, I don't want it, I want another one, and then they give it to you like, no, I don't want it, I want another one. And then you're like, so that's how it felt until it dawned to me, and I'm like, Tabak, don't, no, people are never gonna take you serious. First of all, secondly, it feels like you are just a touch and go type of person. So no, you are becoming untrustworthy. And then when I got to Joburg, that's when I realized that I also like for some reason I did my statistics and I looked and I'm like, hey, things are becoming very scarce as time goes on, and uh, me jumping around as if someone will always take me, it's not gonna work. So I need to find something that I need to stay in, be good at. If I want to improve, I should elevate myself where I am. If not, I should find one thing and then never let go. It only happened when uh, I got the job that I'm currently in now. So I'm in the financial industry now. I never pictured myself there, but I'm loving it. I'm loving every moment of it because I'm learning a lot. So and how the job came, that's when I realized of um the scarcity of jobs and the what's basically been happening in the country. And I realized that at this particular point, because just before I got this job, it came to me as a miracle. Although it was short, I felt how it was like to be unemployed for a short period of time. And during that moment, um, I had literally no one to turn to but myself for anything. And me being the only one I could talk to, I went to the only person that I trusted at that particular point, and it always is, which was God. And I said, dear God, I know I've asked a lot, but I don't want a lot. All I want is one birthday gift. Give me something. I don't care what it is, and I'm never letting go of it. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to excel and get to where I need to get to while holding on to this thing that you gave me. And that is where I got a learnership in a bank, surprisingly, just 1 week after my birthday. And I've been running with it.
Wow.
So that's where I am now. There's another story that's gonna come during this process because there's a lot that happened. But for 3 years, 2016, 17, and 18, um, and I'm gonna explain what happened in 2018 because it was a very serious year for me that time. I've never shed so many tears in my entire life in 1 year. I felt it was tears that I've never shed before. So, but I'll explain that to you. But that is exactly what happened before I got to where I am in 2018.
Take us to 2018.
Hey, so and the details. It's the weird part is that. Um, I'm not a person that cries a lot, but when I moved to Joburg, during the 3 years, I had one source of family that I relied on to be able just to assist me. That is when I said, you know what, I should let me go to school and ask the relative that stays in Joburg to somehow assist me. And all I need is assistance for 1 year, and I'll take care of the rest. I will do the best that I can. They did for 1 month, and then they said, Chief, you're on your own. I'm like, but I thought we agreed. I thought, we agreed that throughout the year. They're like, mm-mm. And then things completely started changing, and they just spiraled to the south. And I had to then make a choice to either go back home or to stay here. This is before COVID, when things were still somehow a bit more flexible. You
Ju-
look like
Just to clarify, Cheese, I know I'm probably as baffled as you were at that time in 2018 when it was happening. Cause what does your on your own mean? Because you negotiated with the family member and you said a year. I need you to just hold it down for me for 1 year.
yeah.
How does 1 year become a month? And what does your on your own mean? Does it
Hey,
mean
so
like like pack up and leave? Does it mean like what does your on your own mean?
so yeah, the arrangement was I'm gonna stay here. Can you assist me with going to school? And I will work for you. You don't have to pay me. You are paying me by paying my school fees. That is all that I'm asking. They said, okay, it's fine. We'll do it. So first month went, first month, everything went pretty well as planned. Second month, they just stopped. They're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I want you to now work. Don't worry about school. It's not that important. And I'm like, but I need, because out of respect and out of fear that I might not have a place to stay and I'd have to go back home and restart. And I was not willing to go back home as yet. I was cut off from going to school. And then I just started working only. At that time, now I don't get a salary. Basically, all I have is just a place to stay by where I was staying with a relative. And as months went on, it became very difficult to function because I was sort of like, lack of a better word, a still boyki. And I became frustrated. And I'm like, you know what, Taba, go home. Just pack your things, go restart. There's nothing wrong with it. But this other side of me saying, there's no way. Joburg is big enough, you can do something. So I went to what I consider my therapy, which is playing soccer. I found a small club close by and I decided to go play soccer. I practice at night, so I'm like, look, relative, I can work for you during the day, at night, I can go play soccer. And they agreed as well. That agreement also lasted for a short period of time until they said, no, soccer is useless. Stop doing this. I'm like, really? I'm like, what must I do now? And then I went home. I decided completely that, I'm going home, but I'm going to tell them I'm visiting. But I'm going home. But I'm like, took some of my things. I told the relative, I'm visiting, I'm coming back. But in my head alone, I said, I'm never coming back here again. I went home and it was nice at home as always, chilled, enjoyed the family's company, asked me how's Joburg. You know, when you are away from home for such a long time and then you go back, they're like, hey, how's things? How's things? So now I had to lie completely, blatantly lie and say, no, everything is fine. Don't worry, we're still good. What, all the nice things. But to cut the long story short, after the visit, I came back and things didn't go well with the relative because of some personal issues that were going on. Uh, some serious things happened there that resulted in him in the retaliation of me being a casualty. Just because I was a bystander, I suffered the consequences of what was happening in that side of the family, and then I got kicked out.
How?
10 p.m. at night. Get out. Eh.
No,
I'm
no,
like, no.
no,
I'm
no.
like, at least let me wake up in the morning and go home. They're like,
10
go.
p.m. cheese.
10 p.m. It's at night. It's in a residential area. It's pretty chilled though. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. And then the first people I contacted were some of the church members that lived close by. And they gladly welcomed me in and they gladly assisted. I told them of the situation and they're like, okay, it's fine. They're like, what do you want to do now? And I'm like, okay. So I was telling them exactly what I was doing because I was volunteering somewhere, and then I was working, and I was telling them, look, I'm volunteering somewhere, and yes, I don't have a salary, but they're giving me transport money, and I don't want to stop volunteering there because uh, I'm not ready to leave yet. They're like, are you sure? They're like, okay. Time went on, and uh, some other church member says, no, man, bring Thabang here. We will be able to live with him because we have an extra place where you can stay, like a cottage. It's fine. And I'm like, good shot. And I'm like, all I need is 1 year. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. 1 year. Luckily, the people were about my age, so it was young adults. So it's like we were living in a commune. It was a fantastic time living with them. Bear in mind that this is all happening in 2018. I'm talking about from January. This is all happening in 2018 because it started actually late 2017. It started late 2017, jumped through to 2018. The story is gonna end around before my birthday was in August. So these young adults told me, "Come stay with us. It's fine." I'm like, "Okay, thank you. Good shot." Hey man, I ended up being an Uber driver. Can you believe that? it was it was that's where I learned the entire Joburg, being an Uber driver. I learned the corners, I learned the routes, I learned everything that I needed to learn from the south to the east to the not the east as much, but from the south to the north majority, and a bit of the west. And I knew the corners of where is where, and I'm like, okay, now I know. But having I became an Uber driver, worked at a call center uh, while I was still volunteering.
For your
So
relative.
no, I wasn't volunteering for my relative. This time I was working for my relative, but because he kicked me out, I couldn't work anymore. I then was able to volunteer, and then I didn't want to leave the volunteering job because they were offering me at least transport. While volunteering, I then got a job, call center. That's when I left to be able to be an Uber driver. Uber driver because it was a bit dangerous. That's when I saw for me, and I was almost hijacked. I was almost beaten up, and then I'm like, mm.
Yeah. Hey, because being an Uber driver in Joburg is different. Because
Yes.
I'm from East London. East London, it's like it's not that hectic. But Joburg, Durban, Cape Town, eesh.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous. You need to know people, and you need to know what to do. So I felt for my own safety that I should stop doing it. And from the end of 2017 to 2018, August, my life was just sort of like crumbled down because I didn't know what to do. I was confused. I was touching here, leaving there, touching here, leaving there. And I became very frustrated. that ruined me emotionally. That ruined me. I couldn't even be in a proper relationship because I was very much unstable, and I did not know what to do. So whenever I was in a relationship, it just wouldn't work out. Not because of them, but because I just didn't know what was going on in my life. And then I just called it quits and dropped everything and sought to restart from the beginning. But I was still not going home. And it wasn't the fact of I was running away from home. It was the fact that I wanted to start something that will just build me from there. And I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I was prepared to start somewhere and take however much long it takes. That is where it began, where I had a prayer and I had just one birthday wish for that year. I was, how old was I? In, I don't know, do the maths. 20. I
Probably
can't do
like
the maths.
yeah. Let's say mid-20s, mid-20s. Because we came
Yeah,
back.
it was
We came back 2015. We were maybe
20,
21,
yeah, 22, 23,
20.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24. Then I said, I'm like, dear Lord, this is it now. I did what I did 2 years. I came back. I still have the knowledge and the skill and the drive. And I'm in this big place of Joburg. Bear in mind, I'm still living with the young adults there in a nice home. And I'm like, I'm here, and all I want is one birthday wish. Give me something, and I'm never letting go of it this time. And when the learnership came, it came as it came as an SMS. Like these random SMSs that come on your phone, like either
Just
they wanna buy they just not make sure. They're like, they're asking me a question in this SMS, like, are you interested in a leadership at this particular bank? Come through to this location. I'm like, this is Joburg. Yeah, this is not legit. They wanna slice me. But when I saw the address, I knew the location because I once was at that location um, some time ago because to just check out job posts. And I'm like, yeah, but I know the place. Like, let me go. Hey, am I looking nice one morning, following the date of the SMS? Oh, when I got there, I saw like, when you see a lot of people, like a lot of people, and I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, there is no way that all these people got this SMS like I did. I'm like, there's no way. So but I went
because just to be clear, Cheese, you didn't apply for this. You just got the SMS.
nothing, didn't apply, nothing. I got the SMS and I'm like, there's no way. When I went there, I asked, they're like, yeah, so this particular bank is looking for all these people. They wanna give them job experience. They were targeting people with no qualification, just a matric. Some people were there, they had like serious qualifications. They still were looking for jobs. And when I was talking to people there, I'm like, oh, these people are more qualified than me. Chances are they're gonna take them because I only have a matric. And my experience doesn't count for anything, especially in the corporate world if I don't have paper to show for it. But I'm like, Lord, very, I'm testing you. At this point, I'm gonna test you, but I'm gonna show them that I know something that they don't know. Lucky enough, we were like, to be honest, we were about 500 people, and for some reason they needed more than 500. And I'm like, okay, I'm going in. I'm not letting go. So we went in. They told us the drills, whatever they did, and everything was just when you go for a company and they ask for your bank statement and your tax clearance, they're like, they are serious. Here, now we're talking serious money. They are talking, now you become excited. They're like, okay, they are legit. So now I became excited. I'm like, okay, for sure, I'm going to get something. They said you're going to get this certain amount. This amount is for transport. And because it's a learnership, after 12 months, the company will decide if they want you or not. I'm like, good shot. Things just started going, and they were going smooth on that side. Now then I started to open up with my family and be like, oh guys, by the way, I moved. I don't stay there anymore. I stay here. This is what's going on, but I'm safe. Don't worry. This is what's going on. And then I told where I was staying to the wife is, I'm like, guys, thank you for accommodating me for 1 year. As promised, I'm shifting somewhere else. And that's where I began also then to find another place. And then I told where I was renting, I'm like, look, I'm gonna stay here just for 1 year. And after I rented, I'm like, I'm gonna rent here for 1 year, and then I'm gonna move. And accommodation for me was good at that point. Work for me was good at that point. So things were starting to balance out. And then I can start, I could start jollering now and be serious, and because at least I had I had a direction to where I was going. And I was more calmer than I was the previous years. And a lot of things then started coming up. Eh, little man. The fun began.
Kena.
The fun began.
Kena.
Hey
Kena.
man, the fun began. So here during the learnership, 12 months, fantastic. I learned, at least I got a qualification with this learnership. I got some paper, and I'm like, good shot. Now, about 500 people plus in uh, this big bank. Now 12 months is gone. Now they need to choose the best of the best and release some. Hey, yeah. I'm like, Lord, I want to say thank you for this 12 months. These people, I'm going to show them that I'm serious about this. I didn't mention this, but luckily in my department, I was the only one. And then others were split to other departments. And other people told me that, man, the other day they released almost everyone that went into the other department. There were like 20 in there. And they released all of them. I'm like, like to be honest, I felt so bad for them. I'm like, yes. And I can't do anything. I can't help them. I can't. And I'm like, yes. I feel sorry for other departments. There were 5 other departments. So it was like that. So to me, I'm like,
Did you
yes, Lord.
did you choose your department when you first got in,
No,
or they assigned you?
they hold you there. That I yeah,
Bruh,
you
look
you
at God. Look
you on
at
your own.
God.
You will learn there. So for me, I was lucky enough that I was the only one. I don't know how, but I'm like, Lord, which means they're looking at me. They are monitoring me. It's only me here. So I'm like, I'm gonna make sure that I do the best that I can to just to show that I'm serious, I'm active, I want. When the 12 months ended, the big boss called me aside and said, look man, we like your drive, we like your enthusiasm, we like your curiosity, we want to take you in. I'm like, good shot. I want. So now things happened. I got the job, and I got permanency, and then my life began now. From a learnership salary to a proper salary now. And this corporate, I'm like, didn't know that I could get such. I'm like, to tell you the truth, man, look, I blew my entire first salary. Gone. I blew it. I damaged your little man. I'm telling you, man. I damaged it because in my head I was living with a learnership salary, paying rent, getting taxi to work and back, and I was blowing it. And during the 12 months, so I was playing soccer a lot in the evenings. So there's this guy that will always come pick me. He also works. He also works there but in a different department, still in the bank. And then he would take me. So I would have to take my sports things during the 12 months. Take my sports things in the morning when I go to work. Would normally play at like 7. So I would knock off at like 4. So I'd have 7, I would have 4, 5, 6, I would have 3 hours waiting and doing nothing and waiting for him to come and get me because he would go home and then he would come. So I'd wait at the office, drink tea, I don't know, go on YouTube and wait until he picks me up. Then I go home. Then I go to soccer. Then he drops me at home. So that would happen like 3, 4 times a week because I'd normally play that amount. I told myself that when I get permanent, 3 months, I'm buying a car. That's all I said. I'm like, I'm getting myself, I'm getting a car. I do not care who says what. So when I got the permanency and I got the job permanently, I then had to make a serious decision. I'm like, okay, I need to move where I'm staying, but I want a car. Eh, I didn't know who to talk to. I said, I contemplated, I thought about all of these alternatives. I thought of what I needed the most. I'm like, but where I'm staying, it's nice there. And they don't want me to go. But I said, I want to stay for 12 months. I'm getting a car. I told the landlord, I'm like, look, landlord, I know you love me because they had kids, the landlord, and the kids, they loved me so much. Oh, they loved me. I loved those kids. They were like, I was like the older brother to them, basically. So I'm like, look, I'm buying a car, and because I play soccer at night a lot, I don't want to disturb the other guy, and I want to go peacefully. Am I going to the shop buying a car same time? 20. That happened in 2019 because the dealership started in 2018. 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Okay. 2019, you're gonna get there. I was just saying. I mean, if we organically get to date my family, that's great. But I'm actually so grateful for this conversation up to this point because I don't want to lie. Cheese. I after 2015, I tried reaching out to you. I don't know if you remember, dog. I tried Facebook, Messenger, unless I tried. I was like, well, cheese was my homeboy. I was like, of all the connections I had on mission, well, cheese was my boy. Cheese was my boy.
Yeah.
So I was confused, dog. I didn't understand. I genuinely didn't understand.
Yes,
I tried reaching out and like I'd space it out. I'd reach out and then get like just keep quiet for a while, reach out. And I just there wasn't any reciprocation. So I think having this conversation puts so much into perspective for me and it helps me understand what was
yeah.
going on in that period. And
No,
roles
I can.
reversed, if I was in if yeah, like I would, because I also deal with tough times in that way. Like I go into my
Yeah.
cocoon and I deal with the problem that's in front of me in the moment, and honestly, like I block everything out. Like the
There's.
the dearest
Yeah.
of people that I love, I block
Yeah.
out and I deal with the issue in front of me, and once I'm okay, then I emerge, and I come back and I go back to those connections again. So I like this conversation means so much to me because it's helping me understand where you were at during that time.
Yeah. No, I remember. I remember there were times you texted me and you say, "Hey, man, you're asking me if I should consider traveling and coming that side," and I'm like, "Yay, it would be nice, man. I would really want to run away from all of these problems." And I would probably because I at some point I wanted a fresh start somewhere else, completely away from South Africa as a whole. And I thought because there were a lot of people that there's the people that I knew that were teaching, but they were teaching online, not there. And I said maybe I will consider it, but maybe I shouldn't. But I was in between decision at the same time, distracted with all of these things, and I'm like, I don't want to involve someone or anyone into this thing that I'm going through because I don't want them to feel pity for me, and I don't think they would understand what is going on, and I didn't want to be a bother. People would see me and they would say, "Hey man, this is a happy chap. Like this guy is. I mean, he's good. He's happy. He's excited." But alone, behind closed doors, there was a lot of things going on, and I just I just didn't want to frustrate. So I just felt I needed to get out of it, and then I'll be okay.
Okay, awesome. I was about to ask another question, but it's gonna take us in a different direction. So maybe before I get carried away, let's get back to 2019.
Yeah. So 2019 then. So I got a car, went to the shop, woke up, I'm like, Yazin, I'm gonna buy a car. And my mission, I remember when I was in mission, my mission president told me of the best cars and told me what car not to buy. I'm like, Yazin, I'm gonna buy that one that he said it's good. And I'm gonna buy it. I went to the shop, I looked. But before that, uh, as soon as I got permanency, so for the 3 months, I literally went car shopping. I was just window shopping, and in a taxi, I would stop a taxi at a random place when I saw a car dealership, and I'd say, "Hey, short left, get off, look." The taxi would go there, and I would just literally look for car for no reason. I don't understand why, but I would look. I'm like, for the first time, I'm shopping. I spoke to my brother-in-law, asked questions. Spoke to the guy that used to pick me up to go play soccer with. Asked him questions. I did like serious research because I had no idea the process of getting a car until I did it. So to cut the long story short, I did it. 3 months later, got a car and shocked everyone. Bear in mind, here's a surprise. I had a girlfriend. She had no idea. My then ex, she had zero idea that I was gonna buy a car. Like nothing. I didn't tell her. I did not tell her. I wanted to surprise her that look, man, I got a car. Eh, that becomes a problem in the relationship because the day I was gonna tell her, we had some weird altercation and we fought and we've been fighting for some reason. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you plus that I got a car because I'm mad at you and we started fighting. We were clashing. I'm supposed to be celebrating and I need someone to celebrate with me, but we are fighting. Then anyway, it didn't work out with that relationship. Uh, I guess it was for a good cause, to be honest. But I got a car, and things started to then look better. I started seeing the sun come out now, and seeing the rainbow, and uh, I started to gather my affairs in order, and I was able then to go home. See my family with the car, and I started to be able to be more open and more understanding. And then I started being in relationships and enjoying life. And but during this process, as much as things were looking good, I fell into a very serious trap of making poor financial decisions. And it was not because of the car. The car was a good direction. But then after being permanent, not everyone is taught about financial literacy. And I've been watching, your first few episodes, and I saw how you taught about budgeting, debt, investing, and not everyone actually. I realized that not everyone or not every household actually they get taught financial literacy, and me, I was one of them that was not taught. I then made terrible decisions, like bad decisions that put me in a sinkhole, and I could not learn from without the sinkhole. The only way I could learn is when I was within the sinkhole. And to tell you the truth, it is not a nice place to be. It is not, no one enjoys learning something when you are inside of it. It's not nice. It's not a good experience. But at the same time, I'm grateful for it. The sad part is that I lost the relationship because of it. I almost lost myself, and I had to once again restart from the beginning. At the same time, while I still have the job, while I still had the car, while I still had the things that I wanted, and I had to make very serious decisions to limit a whole lot of things to be able to get to where I need to get to. So
What were the mistakes, and how did you get back to a place of health?
so
This is me assuming that things are better now.
things are better now. Yeah, definitely. So I got excited, you know, when when you have a lot of money and you get offered more money and you just say that, yeah, I might need this for fun, and then you end up being offered loans, and you can afford to pay them back, but one loan leads to another loan that leads to another loan. By the time you look back, you're like, yo, country, I did so many. When? And now you have to repay it back. And with my limited understanding then, I then had to make a very crucial decision and to say, okay, Taba, you are now going back to where you were, and there's literally no one here that can help you. But the only thing to do, it is to there's only one way to do it. I mean, I think everyone knows that if you are in financial debt, the only thing to do is to make an arrangement and pay for it, however much you can. That is the only, because if you prolong it or limit it, it's gonna hit you in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years. It will come back and say, "Hi, I've been waiting for you. Thank you for coming back." So, and that's one thing I learned, that people think that you can brush debt under the carpet. If you deal with it, it helps you psychologically, actually, in the long run. Not just, yes, it sucks, but it helps you psychologically to say, you know what, I will clear this and I'll be able to make better choices in the future. During that point, I was in a relationship with someone and I could not think straight. Yes, we were able to still go out. Yes, we were able to do the things that people would do. But for me, psychologically, I was not uh, okay. I could not be a boyfriend, nor could I be a good friend. So I saw that it was affecting the lady that I was then dating, and I said, my lady, for the sake of your peace, and I need you to be at a better place, and I don't want to bring you down to where I am, because you're willing to help, and I appreciate that, but I see it, but to be honest, it's not doing anything. I need my cocoon. I need to hibernate to get out of this. Then I will be in a better space to talk about it. It hurt her, and yes, it did hurt me as well. But I loved her enough to be able to release her. And then I decided to take a step back and rethink my whole situation and whole my life again. Fast forward, long story short, uh, we are in 2024 now. All of this happened during COVID, after COVID. And within all of this period, all of this happened, I then at least got my head out. Once I got my head out, I saw that if I can get my head out, then it means I can take my upper body out. And until it got to the waist, and then it got to the knees, and then it got to the ankles. And then there's Thabang jollering again, because now Thabang loves Jolo for some weird reason. And um, I was, let me tell you this, even. I was so excited to come out of this. Like, I had a plan to come out of this financial strain, that I was so excited that I saw myself out of it. I went to apply for Date My Family because I was ready.